And over the last two years or so, I've just fell into seriously bad habits, whereby, like I said, because I wasn't doing that exercise, combined with the fact that I was just eating excessively, going to the pub 2-3 times a week, I would say over the last 24 months, I put on about 15 kilos, maybe a little bit more. I was always around like the low 80s, but this time I'd really ballooned up to the highest weight I've ever been. So obviously, like I said, self-confidence really plummeted. So I got in touch with Chris actually last year, and we did some sessions with each other, and they went well. And I was always committed to the exercise part of the routine, but never necessarily the nutritional side of things, probably because I didn't really fully understand what I was doing. And like I said, this program, obviously, we'll discuss in detail later, but has really given me some more knowledge into that process. So yeah, that's my background anyway.
Awesome. So yeah, just to touch on that, we did a couple of personal training sessions together, which me and Rob have come from that background. But like you say there, with personal training, it very much becomes about, let's do the exercise, and a lot of the nutrition, a lot of the behaviors and habits and mindset work gets lost because there's just not the time there to communicate it all. So results are quite limited with PT. And to be fair, your results were quite limited, weren't they?
Yeah, they were. Like I said, I mean, I definitely saw results. And like I said, I still lost a stone with you within a few months, which is a good thing. But like I said, the things I've learned in this program are certainly more long-term. And like I said, when we're in the gym, it's quite easy. Like I said, if you get along with somebody, it's quite easy the hour will pass and you might not necessarily have the most intense session, which is obviously best for your physique and things. Yeah. So like I said, this has been completely different, and I've definitely benefited from the one-to-one meetings and stuff.
So in your words, I mean, we built this program for that exact reason, to fill the gap, to bridge the gap of the in-between time that you're not with a trainer or you're not with whoever. So in your words, how was the program different to what you'd done before?
Yeah, honestly, like I said, it was brilliant. Like I said, I had a few sessions with you last year, and like I said, obviously this year's been incredibly weird year for everyone. I won't mention the C word, but yeah, it's, I mean, I think the lockdown started in the end of March or early April. And I've mentioned this to Chris before, I genuinely had given up on losing weight at that point. I'd almost become accustomed to being like this big. And I always thought it was going to be around 95 kilos, because I'd kind of do those days where I was doing like dieting, as it were, or eating clean. And then I'd weigh myself a week later and hadn't lost any weight. And I just could not understand why. And like I said, I just accepted it. You start making up excuses saying, oh, it's your metabolism, it's your old age, it's these kind of things. And honestly, I can't exaggerate that point enough. I'd fully given up. And then I think at one point in August, I came out of the shower and I looked in the mirror. I just wasn't happy with the way I looked. Like I said, it was, I'd always been like a fat kid. Like I've always been that kind of fat kid who's, like I said, I'm Indian, so I live at home. And I come from that culture where your mom makes food to feed 1,000 people at one go. So you're constantly in the kitchen and constantly eating. And sorry, one sec. Yeah, and sorry, I just lost my train of thought there. Someone at the door.
So you live at home, food's abundant, you're constantly being fed.
Yeah, constantly being fed. And like I said, then I came out of the show and I wasn't happy. And the first thing I did, I thought, I'm going to contact Chris and see what he's up to. And I was quite surprised to know that you weren't doing one-to-one PT sessions anymore, because that's something I'd always kind of done in the past. And they hadn't, like I said, it worked with you. Like I said, I lost that stone in a few months, whatever. But I had some previously, and there was no real guidance. Do you know what I mean? It was a case of the ordinary PT would just kind of try and punish you in the gym for 45 minutes. And it would just say, oh, eat more healthy. But they don't really explain how to do that. Like I said, if I knew how to do that, I wouldn't be in that position. Mm-hmm. So I contacted Chris. And like I said, we had the initial meeting. And then, within the first, I think, first 3 weeks, I lost 3 kilos. I thought, this is great. I honestly, find it so easy to do that first 3 kilos coming off. Just a few changes in diet. And then I went through actually a period where I plateaued for 3 weeks, where I think I lost maybe half a kilo in 3 weeks, or possibly even stayed the same. Now, previously, I would have then fallen off the wagon again because I wouldn't have understood what was going wrong. But like I said, had another meeting with yourself on Zoom, and we kind of identified a few points whereby I was skipping meals, which obviously is not a good thing. My macronutrient balance wasn't correct. I was probably eating too many carbs. And also a really important thing, which you don't really necessarily think about, is the intensity of your exercise in the gym. It needs to be, you need to be like sweating once you've kind of finished your workout. And sometimes I'll have a workout. You've all seen it on the app where you've got different stages, 1 to 10 of how hard the exercises are. And a lot of the times I'd come out and I'd just mark it as a 6. And I thought, well, why is that the case? Whereas you mentioned, there really should be a 7 or an 8. So like I said, we identify those kind of key factors which were kind of hindering my progress. And since then, like I said, the weight loss has been steady and constant every week. And like I said, my target was to get down to 88, and I've definitely done that. So I'm happy about it.
Yeah. So, I mean, you apart from that little sticky patch towards the start, you've lost weight pretty much every week, haven't you?
Yeah.
And a big thing, which is why I wanted to get you on, because why I think your story is so relevant is because the mindset shift that you've had.
Yeah.
Obviously, people bang on about calories and exercise all the time, but few people think about that shift in mindset and having the attitude to wanting to actually do this rather than it feeling like you're pulling teeth out. So for you, what has that mindset shift been like?
Yeah, to be fair, it's been huge. Like I said, this might sound like I'm exaggerating, but I'm actually not. Like, it's actually been a life changer for me, because again, you might have seen it on your Facebook post when you talk about that pyramid and like where you place those certain things in your life, such as being social, your health, work, all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I can comfortably say health was near the bottom. I did care about it, but caring isn't enough. You've got to do something. You've got to put it into practice, and that's something I hadn't done. And like I said, the nature of my work, like as with I think most people in this group, constantly busy, constantly stressed. Don't think you've got the time to do certain things, and it just wasn't the case. So there's been a massive shift in that sense, where, like I said, health is basically health and family is number one. And even with what I've actually changed the way I work. So if I need to go to the gym, I'll prioritize that over work, because like I said, it's become that much more important to me. That's definitely been a massive factor. Definitely. Yeah.
So I think that's important what you've said there in terms of that feeling of I haven't got time, and, you know, pushing health to the bottom of the priority list as such. How much did you do that before in terms of?
Oh, definitely. And also another thing, and sorry, mate, just give me 1 second. There's no one knocking at the window.
This is live. This is what busy men do, yeah? Got to try and fit things in when their work days relentlessly going on. So yeah, I'll just talk a little bit more about Sam's journey then, I suppose, when he's not here. So a big thing for him was, you know, like he said, understanding the nutrition aspect. And when we spoke previously through one-to-one training, he didn't get the time that he needed to go through it thoroughly. So obviously with the program that we've built, we can monitor people 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. And that
sorry about that.
That's all right, mate. So yeah, I'm just talking a little bit about you while you're not here. So yeah, that gives us great access to be able to manage behaviors, manage habits. So mate, I'll let you carry on in terms of prioritizing.
Oh yeah. So and this is something you mentioned the other day, and I didn't actually respond in the group, but you mentioned something about whether these kind of programs should be cheap or expensive. I didn't reply because I didn't really have an answer for it, but I've thought about it, and I was one of those people who basically kind of had that mentality where these programs were what I would perceive to be expensive, but then I kind of weighed it up across how much I was spending a week on, say, going out and drinking. And it worked out. Like I said, it's cheaper than that. So again, it's where that priority is. Like I said, if you're willing to spend X amount on being social, and I was being social, but I wasn't happy when I was out. Do you know what I mean? I was out there and I was drinking. And I was obviously enjoying the social aspect, but I knew that self-confidence wasn't there, and I wasn't happy with my appearance and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. And I think for guys, that's something that we don't necessarily talk about is self-confidence. You know, we kind of retreat into our head with it. So how has your confidence changed now in terms of from where you were and to where you are?
Oh, massively. Like I said, it's just, like I said, it's small things like being able to fit in clothes that, like I said, had become too tight. And like I said, when I'm walking down the street, like I said, I feel more confident, I'm slimmer. And another thing as well, I've got massive amounts of more energy. Before, I mean, I'd wake up in the morning, I'd feel groggy. It'd get to like 3 or 4 o'clock and I'd basically be falling asleep at my desk.
That was something you said a lot, to be fair.
Yeah,
mate,
it was. And I think you mentioned it, probably identified it as probably too much sugar intake at that point, I guess. But yeah, like as in really my energy levels were seriously low, to the point where I was going to go to the doctor because I thought there was something wrong with me. But this is kind of just highlighted. It was just, like I said, it was just a few changes I need to make in my kind of my diet and my health lifestyle and things. So
absolutely, mate. So what would you say was the biggest factors of the program that created this U-turn for you?
It's hard to probably pinpoint or specify one exact thing, but I think it's a combination of things. I think the biggest thing for me is having someone there like yourself who you can just talk to. Like I said, I think people, again, there's that mentality where a client can be scared of a PT because they can be quite strict, and whereas it's more, like I said, it's more with you guys, it's more of a case of discussing the problem, because you guys are the experts and you've seen it. You've had hundreds of clients who've had the same problems as I have and other people in the group, so you know where we're coming from, and like I said, you know how to kind of fix those things. So that was a massive point. And just the general knowledge, like I said, again, from previously, I didn't have that knowledge to kind of use myself. Whereas now, like I said, if I have a bad day, I kind of know how to self-correct it. And that's something before, like I said, prime example, when I plateaued for those 3 weeks, previously, like I said, I'd kind of pull my hair out, or what's going on? I don't understand why I'm not losing weight. And I would have just put the weight straight back on again. And it would have just been that cycle that's repeated for like the last 2 years or so. But
yeah, cool, absolutely, mate. So for you, it was very much about the accountability. And
definitely, yeah.
You know, and obviously that's good for us to know because we can try and emphasize that even more.
Yeah.
So, I mean, for people watching who have probably been in your situation, but that was your situation, out of shape, low on energy, low on body confidence, what would you, and they're having the same conversations you did, you know, of I'm going to be like this forever, probably. I haven't got the time to fix it. I can't be asked. Motivation zero. What would you say to them?
Yeah, I mean, without doing like a massive sales pitch, like don't delay, claim today kind of thing. It's
real, mate.
but seriously, and again, this is one thing I think Rob might mention in one of his videos. It's not a case of where you want to necessarily be now. Where do you see yourself in 12 months, 5 years time, 10 years time? And like I said, it's for me, it's a long-term thing. And it's like with anything, if there's a problem with you medically, the first thing you do, you go to the doctor and you try and get that sorted out. And it's the same thing with your health. If you're not happy with your health and there's clearly something wrong, like I said, if your energy levels are low, just do something about it. Like I said, and the thing about this is at no point have I felt like this has been, like one of these fad diets or anything. This is about changing your lifestyle. So like I said, you don't repeat the same issues that you had before, where you put on weight, you lose weight, you put on weight. It's giving you a set of skills which would take you forward. And like I said, it really boils down to how much value do you place on your health. And like I said, if it's down low and you, like I said, you're not feeling great about yourself, then you kind of almost only got yourself to blame, because there's no excuse. Do you know what I mean? At some point, you've got to take that plunge into the pool and say, look, this is where I want to be. And to get that, I've got to make some changes and do something about it.
Absolutely, mate. Yeah. Which you have done.
Yeah.
So I suppose one more thing then, how do you see, you've mentioned you've tried this stuff lots of times, you've gone through that cycle of losing weight, putting weight back on, falling into the trap of feeling shite about yourself again. How do you see yourself as equipped now moving forward? Do you feel like this is something that's sustainable for you?
Oh, massively. Like I said, we mentioned like lockdown previously, and it has been a massive challenge to everyone this year. Not just the physical aspect, the mental side of things as well, because you can like lose the plot if you're just sitting at home, and that kind of sitting at home doing nothing almost leads to things like snacking, which is something I used to do loads. Chris knows I used to eat crisps in like by the bag full. That was my biggest vice. So yeah, there's been a massive shift in that sense. And little things like, sorry, not little, they're actually massive things. The two biggest factors for me in the whole thing have been tracking my food and also planning my meals. Tracking your food is absolutely essential. And I never thought it would have been that important. And again, when I first started training with yourself, I never used to fully track it. Again, it's just that really lazy, can't be arsed attitude, but it takes literally 2 minutes to do. And the beauty of it in this program, where if I didn't track my food, then I wouldn't have known those few issues that I had when I plateaued. Like, because we looked in detail at what I'd eaten those 2-3 weeks, and there's a lot of bread. I was still eating crisps, so even though I might have been in a calorie deficit, the kind of food I was eating wasn't encouraging weight loss.
Yeah.
So that was a massive thing. And another thing we pointed out as well, sorry, I didn't mention that after the plateauing, was the planning of my meals. That's been absolutely huge for me, because before I was just winging it. I would, like I said, I might skip breakfast and I might go to Greg's for a sandwich for a lunch or something. And like I said, you're not taking into account fully what you're eating nutritionally a day. So planning your meals has been absolutely huge for me. So every day now, I know 90% of what I'm going to eat. So that, again, I can take that forward long term. So which will make it a lot more easier to sustain for me anyway.
Yeah, that's our whole point when we start, is to make you self-sustainable.
Yeah.
So it's awesome that you've hit that point, and obviously the knowledge has allowed you to do that. The conversations we've had where we have dived deep into nutrition to find out, because like you said, a deficit sometimes isn't always enough. We have to look at the quality of what's going in. And, that data that you obviously provided us was completely useful for getting you the result. So, mate, yeah, it's been awesome. So would you recommend the total body rebuild to other guys on the fence, maybe?
I would definitely, mate. Like I said, I mean, for me personally, I'm only halfway through my goal. So like I said, I mentioned to yourself, I'm going to do another 3 months, probably early next year, because I want to get down to 80 kilos in a much better physique. But like I said, there's nothing stopping anybody doing the program. Do you know what I mean? It's just a case of, what do you want in your life? Like I said, what choices do you want to make, and where do you want to be in terms of your health and your lifestyle? And like I said, if you're one of those people who, like I was, just constantly in that vicious circle, gaining weight, losing weight, gaining weight, and then even like I said, at this point, at a point this year, I just kind of given up. Like I said, just jump on the program, even have a conversation with you guys. And if you like what you guys are, how you guys are coming across, then just go for it. Like I said, I haven't looked back, and I won't do. And that's one of the best decisions I made this year. So I'm really glad I've gone through with it.
Awesome. Well, cheers, mate. We survived lockdown together.
We did, mate. We did. We've had a lot of fun as well along the way. We have had a lot
of fun. We've had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Awesome, mate. Thank you very much for that.
Thanks.
That's the end of that live. That's quality. Cheers, buddy.